If there's any consolation in Scripture at all, is that we find life's most common questions there. And this week's question is one of them. If you go to Psalm 73, the psalmist asks God, why is it that evil men or evil people prosper while the good suffer? And perhaps an even better illustration, and really the reason why the book of Job was composed when it was to address the same question. People would come to the rabbi that wrote the book of Job and ask, they would tell him, I've done all the right things. I've been obedient. I've been faithful. I have followed God's law all my life. And I do not understand why I suffer so much and why people who are not faithful, do not follow God's law, seem to live a life of prosperity and ease. And perhaps the best part of the story of the book of Job comes in the end. And, in the end of the story of Job, when everything has been restored to him, his health is restored, his wealth is restored, his family is restored to him, he actually gets angry at God. He said, God, how could you have allowed all of those things to happen to me? And God gets equally angry back at Job. He says to Job, well, where were you when I created the world? Where were you um, when I designed your life? And how can you question me about my purpose in the things that happen in your life? And at the end of the day, the question is, how is God using the events of my life and the conditions of my life and the truth of my life to form me in a way that perhaps God only understands? Because God uses not just blessings, not just things that are pleasant, not just things that are planned, but also uses things that are not pleasant, not planned, not easy, in order to bring the strength and endurance and character into our lives that He knows that are necessary for our sanctification and for becoming saints. And within the same hands of God, that newfound endurance, that newfound character that our lives would have lacked had they turned out any other way, become real hope, because we begin to see the hand of God at work in our lives, and gives us real courage that we are indeed being prepared to enter into life with Him in eternity. So, bearing all these things in mind, remember that God is who He says He is, you are who He says you are, and live the life that He created you to live.